Today's topic is a look into the opportunities in real estate despite the distressed markets. Okay, so it's going to be really cool. I'm going to give you some great stats. So before we dive into it and while people join, so I want to invite you to be part of our either wholesale inner circle or cash flow inner circle. So let me just quickly tell you what that's all about. Okay. So we created two groups, okay? One of them is called the Wholesale Inner Circle. And the main objective for this inner circle is to give you a hands-on approach, okay? So it's gonna be a helping hand, a support network, and a mentor, okay? Now, the reason why we created this is because we wanna make sure that you do have the support, the network, the team to help you be more successful, especially if you want to do wholesales. So we've come up, let me tell you what we're going to be doing, and we started already about 2 months or so. We do weekly teaching and QA calls. We do live mentoring calls on a weekly basis. And we also do deal review sessions, okay? As part of being in the group, you're going to have access to our exclusive Facebook group. This is our board of advisors. I'm sure you know many of them: Andrew Holmes, Dan Carlton, Frank, Rahul, Joe Mueller. And we've come up with a training package. Okay, this is comprised of about 8 modules that are ongoing. So 0 to 30 properties in less than 2 years. Okay, so in here we're going to start with the module 1. So we're pretty much putting all of this training online. Okay, and we do live training. So we already cover getting started with wholesaling, business setup, lead generation. This is a big one. We talk about lead generation on a weekly basis. Lead management, meeting the seller, the art of negotiations. Okay. Now, if you want to join, it's $59 per month, or if you commit to a 6-month, then you're gonna get a 20% off. So it's $287 for 6 months. Okay, very, very simple. So this is for the wholesale inner circle. Now, for the cash flow inner circle, this is for those of you who are interested in doing fix and flips or buy and hold. So this is the cash flow. In the cash flow inner circle, we are not going to talk about wholesaling. We're going to talk about from finding deal all the way to analyzing them, getting funded, rehabbing, selling the property, and screening tenants, buy and hold, property management. Okay, so it's a different approach, but again, you are going to have hands-on experience. You're going to have a mentor. You're going to have live weekly calls. I'm going to be your mentor. We have also advisors that we're going to bring on board, live mentoring calls, deal review as well. And then we also have an exclusive Facebook group. Okay, so if you want to be part of this is what the agenda is going to be like. And the kickoff for this group is going to be in about a week's time. Okay, so essentials for success. We're going to have then module 2, area selection. Module 3, finding deals. Okay, where do you find them? What's a great deal, right? We're going to talk about the different lead types, primarily focusing on off-market. Module 4, deal analysis. Okay, how do you analyze a deal in seconds? Number 5, making offers, home inspections. Number 6, which is a very extensive module, we talk about understanding the money game. Okay, so funding, everything that you need to get your deals funded, different sources. And module 7, closing the deal. Module 8, rehabbing. For those of you who want to do buy and hold and fix and flip, this is a great module. We're going to be talking about contractors, scope of works, the anatomy of a property. And finally, we're going to be doing property management for those of you who want to do buy and hold. And the last module, this is a 10-week training, is going to be on building a rental empire. Okay, so the strategies on ramping up your rentals very, very quickly. So again, if you want to be on a month-to-month, it's 59. If you commit to 6 months, it's 287. Okay. To get started, you can just click in the buttons depending on the plan you want to take. So all you need to do is sign up here. Even if you're a DealVault member, all you need to do is fill this up, and boom, you're done. And then we're gonna start in about a week's time. So it's already, this is for the monthly. Okay, if you want to do the every 6 months, boom, it's gonna take you to the same form, but it's gonna have a 6-month commitment. So it's gonna be 287. So you save 20% off. Okay, super excited about this new program. And in fact, we're loading everything into a training course. So let me show you. Everything is online. Every single module has different videos. It has actionable steps. So we have handouts, we have assignments, we have a lot of resources that we're sharing with you of the behind the scenes. Okay, so we're sharing everything in this platform, and then you're going to be able to keep track of your completion. Okay, for every single module, we have training videos, actionable steps for you to take. So we're going to become your accountability partners. And not only that, but let me show you. The team for the wholesaling inner circle has over 75 people. So it's grown tremendously. The team for the cash flow team, for the cash flow inner circle, it's growing pretty fast. So we have over 40 people. So you're going to be grouped in teams. Okay, you're going to have a team lead. A team lead is going to be more experienced than you. Maybe a broker, maybe a master's student. And not only that, but we're profiling every single one of you to group you in teams where you can potentially partner up with people, because we're gonna, when we profile you, we will know your neighborhood where you want to invest, okay, areas where you're interested in, and based on that, we are going to group you in.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, thank you, Phil. Is that better?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you, Phil. So it's super exciting that we're rolling this out in about a week's time. So I want to make sure that you are part of the inner circle. Again, we're pretty much putting everything that we've done in the last 2.5 years, building a rental empire of over 30 units in a 10-week training program. Okay, so super excited to have you be part of it. So the next step is for you to fill out the profiling form, and then we're gonna make you part of the team. Phil, so if you could please post via the chat both profiling forms. This is for the wholesale. Let me just put it on the chat. That's for the wholesale team. And if you want to be part of the fix and flip or buy and hold, then you fill this out. Okay, so this is for buy and hold or flips. Okay, you fill the above, and then I'm gonna send you the link for the landing page. Okay, so to get more information, so this is for wholesale, and the landing page for the cash flow inner circle, cash flow inner circle, it's right here. Okay, so to get more information, but if you're ready to get started, please fill out the profiling form so that we can get you into the right team. Okay, so friends, now let's dive into today's topic. Are there any questions on this? If you have any questions, please let me know. So today's topic is a look into the opportunities in real estate distress markets. So I brought great information to share with you. Let me pull this up because this just came out, the 2020 from the Illinois Realtors annual report on the housing market. So we're gonna go over some really cool stats, and most importantly, I'm going to give you the strategies that you need to focus on for 2021 to really take advantage of the downturn, okay? Because friends, when and where do you need to invest? This is a lifetime opportunity. Very simple. When prices go down, right? And that's what's going to happen in 2021. Okay, there's going to be a correction of prices once the backed up pre-foreclosures start to roll into the market. There's going to be an increase in inventory supply. Therefore, property prices are going to correct, meaning they're going to drop 10 to 15%, not like in 2008, okay? But property prices are going to drop. So you've got to be ready to seize the opportunity. So now let's talk about the existing condition of the real estate market right now, so that it's going to give you a better understanding as to what you need to do and how the data applies to your best strategy. Okay, that's what I want to focus on today. So first of all, change from 2019 till today. So the annual, let's talk about the annual closed sales. So these are the transactions that happened between 2019 and 2020. So this is the data that just came out, released. So what happened is that there was an increase in closed transactions of 12% for single family homes. Condos is pretty much stable. Overall, or properties about 10%. So what does this tell you? That there's been an increase in transactions, but the question is, why has there been an increase despite the pandemic? Well, let me tell you, because with the pandemic, what the government did was to stimulate the economy by lowering interest rates. So when you lower interest rates, your purchasing power increases. So what happened is that the pool of buyers just got a lot bigger, okay? Because they can afford more. They can afford bigger homes. They can afford more. They can put a lot less money down for down payment, and their mortgage payment is going to be extremely affordable, even more affordable than renting for the same property. So that is why there was an increase in sales transactions in the last year, okay, despite coronavirus. Now, let's talk about the second stat, annual median sales price. So what happened to property prices? Single family homes went up by about 10%. Condos went up by about half of it. Overall, 7.7 sales price increase. Now, you may wonder, why did the prices increase if we are sort of in a recession per se, right? Well, supply and demand, very simple. When the demand for any product, in this case, houses, is high, but yet the supply is low, guess what happens to property prices? They go up because there's less of the product available than people willing to buy the house. Therefore, property prices have gone up steadily in the last 12 months, okay? And that applies for all asset types, single family homes, condos. Now, the reason why single family homes is higher than condos, because despite the fact that condos are more affordable per se, people have this high pride of ownership, right? They want to own a piece of land. So when you buy a condo, you're pretty much sharing your living space with neighbors up and down, left and right, right? So people prefer single family homes, okay? So that is why the increase in sales price for single family homes is double of the condo. Therefore, appreciation rates for single family homes are greater than for attached homes like condos, duplexes, townhomes, okay? But overall, there was an increase in property price of about 8%, and that is due to low or shortage of inventory and historically low interest rates. So this is allowing people to buy more of a home. Now, let's go into the next stats that are super critical, okay, for you to understand. Days on market, okay, until sale. So as you can see, the average time on the market, so from the time the seller puts the property in the market till it closes, is about 2.5 months. It's about 2 months, okay? And that pretty much remained the same, okay? So typically the houses stay in the market average 2 months, okay? However, check this out, months of supply of inventory. What does that mean? Because there was a huge drop of 44%. So let me explain what this means. In 2020, despite the pandemic, months of housing supply, what it means is, and this is by far the most important metric that you need to know for every single market if you're considering doing flips. Let me explain what the months of housing supply is. What it means is how quickly can the entire inventory for a market run out, assuming no new listings for sale come in the market. So let me give you an example. For instance, if in, let's assume Hanover Park, okay, there are 100 properties for sale right now as we speak, as an example. But every month, it's selling about 50 properties, okay? Assuming no new properties enter the sale market, okay? So the question is, how long would it take before you run out of 100 properties? If you're selling 50 every month, how many months would it take before all the inventory is sold? The answer is 2 months, okay? So look at this, months of housing supply since 2015 all the way to 2019, it typically takes about 5 months up until 2019, 3.5, 4 months before the inventory supply in a given market runs out. Okay, well, guess what happened in 2020? It just dropped tremendously. So the entire inventory for a given market is going to run out in 2 months. I mean, this is insane. 2 months. So that's the example that I just gave you of Hanover Park. Let's assume there are 100 properties for sale, and every month they're selling 50. So it's going to take 2 months before, boom, all the inventory in Hanover Park is gone, assuming no new listings come into the market. And the reason why is because 2 reasons: shortage of inventory. So when you have a low supply of inventory, whatever you have left is going to be sold out very quickly. And the second reason is because interest rates are extremely low, so the pool of buyers has increased tremendously. Therefore, when you have higher purchasing power, more affordability, low inventory supply, guess what happens to property prices? They have steadily gone up despite of the pandemic by about 10%, okay? So that is why people who, or sellers who are putting a property on the market, boom, they're getting full price offers. They're getting into bidding wars, okay? It's a seller's market, okay? So right now, if you're thinking about doing flips, you've got to focus on micro flips. What that means is in and out. So you've got to focus on small rehabs, okay, less than 50,000. Purchase price less than 200,000, okay? So that you're in and out. So let's assume the rehab can take you up to 2 months, market time, another 2 months. So all in about 4 to 5 months, you're in and out of the flip. Does that make sense? So micro flips are very lucrative right now. Flippers are making more money today than they've made in the past. But I'm talking or referring to micro flips, small rehabs, not gut rehabs, because the risk of doing a gut rehab is that a gut rehab might take you more than 6 months just for the rehab itself. Once you put it in the market, guess what? By then, you might hit September, October. So by then, is pushing for a foreclosure moratorium and eviction moratorium for September. So if that happens, guess what? By the fall, early winter, you're gonna start to see the backed up pre-foreclosure filings coming into the market, right? So we're gonna have all these distressed owners getting into the foreclosure process as early as this fall. Okay, so that means that there's going to be an increase of inventory. Therefore, property prices are going to correct themselves by 10 to 15%. So engaging in a really big flip is not a good idea because you may come up with your ARV right now that it's a seller's market, but by the time you finish the project, you put it on the market, guess what? The ARV is going to have a decline in value, so you may not hit the ARV that you expected when you started the project or when you bought the property. Okay, so it's something super important to be aware of. So right now, if you have a property for sale, that's the best place to be. Okay. Also, let me tell you, rentals. Rentals is just the way to build wealth in real estate because real estate is a long-term wealth investment. Okay. So when you get into rentals, the beauty of it that over time, your property price is going to go up. Therefore, your net worth will continue to go up as your principal amount goes down. Okay, with the amortization schedule, if you have a 30-year loan, over time, you're going to start to pay more towards the principal. Therefore, your net worth starts to go up. Property prices continue to go up over time. And guess what happens to rents? They go up. Why? Because population grows. And all these people that are in financial distress, eventually they're going to get displaced, okay, from their homes. But they all need a place to live. So where are they going to go? They may not be able to buy a new home again, but they are going to flood the rental market. So owning rentals, it's just by far all day long the best strategy you can take on. Okay, even if flips right now are super attractive, rentals is just a long-term investment to build wealth. Okay, so the data is telling us that if you're willing to do a micro flip, it's good. Okay, up until the fall of 2021, if you want to do rentals, has always been the best strategy by far. What about wholesales? Wholesales is going to be, I would say, the second best strategy. Why? Because of the tsunami wave of distressed owners. So there are going to be a lot of owners who, guess what, are in financial distress because they might have lost their job, but they might be in the forbearance program, right? The forbearance program allow them to not pay, just delay their mortgage payments for about a year. So the forbearance program started back in March 2020. So guess what? In about a month and a half, 45 days, the forbearance program is going to be over. So what does that mean? Guess what? If those people are still unemployed and the unemployment rate is 25%, half of 50 million jobs won't reopen again. So they may not go back to where they used to work. Therefore, if they can't afford to make the mortgage payment for the last 12 months, March comes, guess what? They will immediately enter the foreclosure process. As you can imagine, there's going to be a huge tsunami wave of financial distress owners who are just about to enter the foreclosure process. So wholesalers, it's a huge opportunity because guess what? Your motivated sellers list has just gone through the roof. Okay, so it's the perfect time to reach out to homeowners in distress to prevent them from losing their home. Okay, especially many of them have tons of equity, so they owe very little to the bank, yet the property is worth quite a lot, so they have a lot of equity. Those are the owners that we're targeting, right, with a lot of equity because you have more room to negotiate to get a better price, not only for you as an investor or wholesaler, but also for the owner, right? That not only are they going to be able to satisfy their creditor, meaning the mortgage, but when they sell their home, they're going to be able to walk away with cash that will allow them to relocate somewhere else, either buying a new home or renting a new place. Okay, they will not ruin their credit. They are going to be able to buy a new home or live somewhere else, right? And they're not going to lose 100% of their equity they've built over time. So that is why wholesalers are going to be in a great position right now with so many distressed homeowners in about to end the forbearance program and enter the foreclosure process. Okay, so again, micro flipping, it's a really great strategy. Wholesales and rentals by far will outperform flips in the long term. Okay, so rentals and wholesales will by far outperform flips or micro flips in the long run. But again, this is a seller's market. If you have a property for sale, right now is the time to put it on the market. Okay, so let me give you an example. We just completed a rehab of a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Burbank. We were so tempted to put it on the market for a flip, but since we are so committed to rentals, we decided to rent the property. It's going to cash flow very nice, and we tested the waters. The rental market is still so strong. I mean, we got flooded with applicants for the rental. Okay, so we got it rented in about 3 days for $50 above asking price. So we
Hugo, we lost your voice.
If you can hear us, Hugo, you froze up. You've totally frozen.
Hi, Hugo. Can you hear us?
Okay, is the sound okay, Phil? I believe I lost my sound. Is this good
Yeah,
now?
we can hear you now. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so now let's continue with the next stat. I mean, this is focus. Inventory of homes for sale dropped by close to 50% for single family homes. I mean, it is that bad, the shortage of inventory. That is why it's such a big seller's market. Okay, they are getting over asking price offers. I mean, it's just insane. We've made a couple of offers in on MLS properties. We got outbid left and right. I mean, it's just people are paying crazy money, and the sad part of it is that most investors do not understand the numbers, so they're overpaying for the property. They're risking of not making any money when they decide to do a flip, or not cash flowing if they decide to do a buy and hold. But just the shortage of inventory, it's tremendous. 50% drop of home for sale. So the inventory is to its lowest right now. Okay, that is why doing wholesaling is super attractive. Let me just give you an example. We got a property. The wholesale inner circle team got a property on the contract in Old Ship. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. We put it on the market for 89,000 or 90,000. Boom! In a matter of hours, sold. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, we got backup offers after backup offers. Okay, so let's continue with the stats. Okay, so overall, let's focus on the state of Illinois. Did I miss? No. So the inventory shortage has been at its highest. average 40% drop in inventory supply. Okay, now let's look at the closed sales. We've seen that the difference between 2019 and 2020, there was an increase of about 10% for the state of Chicago. The Chicago metro area, an increase of 8%, and the city of Chicago stayed pretty much the same when it comes to sales. Okay, so this tells you, check this out. What does this tell you? Chicago metro area, what that means is the suburbs, the outskirts. City of Chicago is like closer to downtown, okay? So people are migrating. This is what the data is telling us. People are migrating to the suburbs, okay? They're leaving the city. So that's what happened in the last year. It could have been obviously because of the pandemic, because of the riots downtown, because people want a bigger home. And right now, guess what? Due to historically low interest rates, they can afford a bigger house. So this is their chance to jump on the boat to buy a bigger house. Are they going to be able to buy a bigger house downtown Chicago? Absolutely not. It's just high rises, condos downtown. So the people are migrating to the suburbs. That is why you see an increase of about 9% of migration to the suburbs versus to the city. Right now, I mean, especially with the riots downtown that happened in a few months ago, that negatively impacted sales. Okay, people are afraid of being downtown for some reason. Plus, it's not as affordable as living in the suburbs. Okay, now let's move on to the right. Median sales price, they've gone up. Okay, about 8% from last year. That is why this is a seller's market, despite of the pandemic, because of the shortage of inventory. So inventory has dropped by about 40%. I mean, the inventory supply by 40%. That is why property prices have gone up by about 8%. The months of housing supply has gone down from like 5 months to stay on the market to like 2 months. That makes flipping extremely attractive because of the seller's market. Sellers are just commanding top prices right now for properties that are probably not worth it. It's sad, right? But as an investor, you really need to be aware of these numbers and understand what the data is telling us. So what the data is telling us is that due to the pandemic, shortage of inventory, increase in price, historically low rates are making the buyer pool a lot bigger. However, there's going to be a price correction of about 10 to 15% towards the fall of this year, 2021. Okay, Biden is pushing the eviction and foreclosure moratorium till September. So you're going to start to see pre-foreclosures coming into the market towards the end of the year, especially next year. By summer next year, boy, that's when you're going to start to see a lot of pre-foreclosures recycling back into the market. So it's going to be a huge opportunity for you to buy, okay? Because remember, you've got to buy when property prices go down. Right now, property prices have gone up, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy rentals right now. If you can buy them at the right price, by all means. The best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And guess what? When property prices start to drop, especially by next spring 2022, you've got to be ready for that. Okay, you've got to have your funding line up. You've got to have your training. You've got to have access to off-market deals, because that's where the biggest profit spreads are going to be. All these properties owned by financially distressed owners are not going to be listed on the MLS. They're going to be off market, so technically not for sale. That's what Chicago DealVault focuses on. We focus on off market properties, properties that are technically not for sale, such as probates, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, bank-owned properties, vacant properties, and much more, okay? So you've got to focus for sure on off-market. That's where you're gonna find the best deals, where you can afford to pay 50, 60 cents on the dollar. So we're constantly monitoring both off-market and MLS. MLS, we've had not much success lately, again, because of the bidding wars that investors who do not understand the numbers engage in, and that's super risky. But again, please focus on micro flippings, buy and holds, and wholesaling. Wholesaling is huge. That is why we created the Wholesale Inner Circle team, okay, just to help you, give you all the resources, the training to be able to engage in wholesales, okay? So this is a big strategy that we want to tap into, make sure that you are more successful. If you haven't done any wholesales, that you start doing at least a couple of them, okay? Because there's gonna be a huge tsunami wave of financially distressed homeowners that you can help. And in the process, obviously, make a nice return, a nice finder's fee, or perhaps pick up a great rental. And so are there any other questions on the line? Okay, are there any other questions on the line that I can help you answer? Okay, so let's go back to the stats that we were just talking about, and you know, the conclusion for what that is, that next year you've got to capitalize by having training, having your resources, having a team already built for you, understanding the essentials, what it takes to be successful, and most importantly, obviously lining up your funding. That's going to be critical, because when a great deal comes your way, you're going to need to be able to pull the trigger and be able to fund it if you're going to buy and hold or fix and flip. That's what we're going to help you with the cash flow inner circle and the wholesale inner circle. We're going to give you the insider secrets, resources, and a team for you to be ready when you need to be ready to pull the trigger, okay? So are there any questions on the line? I want to make sure that I help you answer any concerns, any questions that you may have. And I also want to make sure that you understand what you need to focus on. It's with the data that I just presented to you right now. Go ahead, Sam, or feel free to unmute yourself.
Hugo, thank you very much for this webinar.
Oh, my pleasure. Do you have any questions, Sam?
Yes, I want to know how we can secure or profit or make some money on the wholesale, selling it to somebody else. Because that's the area sometimes I have problem, and they say, okay, you bought this property for 100,000. Now we are going to give you 5,000, and I don't want to make 5,000 on that property. I know it has more equity.
Absolutely. So to be able to successfully wholesale a property, you need two factors. You need a motivated seller and you need equity. That's what you need, okay? Because you may have a very motivated seller, but guess what? If the seller is underwater, meaning that he owes more than what the property is worth, there's not much you can do, okay? The only option they have is to negotiate a short sale with the bank. But other than that, you cannot help them, or maybe a loan modification. Unless you're a mortgage broker, you cannot help them. So you need motivation and equity. So when we approach off-market sellers, we're going to be looking into for sale by owners. We're going to be looking into doing bandit signs, mailers to pre-foreclosures, probates, upcoming auctions. That's the pool of distressed homeowners. And guess what? We're going to target high equity homeowners, okay? People that have a lot of equity, they own little, yet they're in financial distress because they may not have a job and but they are motivated and they have equity. So those are the two components that you need to successfully wholesale a deal. And obviously, when we find a motivated seller with equity, we need to understand three numbers about the property. We need to know the after repair value. How much can we sell the property for once it's rehab? We need to understand the scope of work. How much money would it take to bring the property to its previous glory? And most importantly, number three, what's the most we should pay for that property? Okay, making a fair offer for the owner to satisfy their mortgage outstanding balance and yet be able to cash out to relocate elsewhere. Okay, so there are a few components, and we're going to cover that in this wholesaler inner circle. Okay, so meeting the seller, the art of negotiation, and most importantly, we focus on lead generation, right? We want to make sure that you have leads coming in your way, and we're gonna help with the number crunching. Everything that I told you about ARV, scope of work, and the most you should pay for the property, we are going to help if you're part of the inner circle. Okay, we want to make sure that you just focus on lead generation, getting a hold of those distressed homeowners who are motivated and who have a lot of equity, and we're going to help you, handhold you through the rest of the process in the wholesaling process. Okay, so that's the answer to your question, but we're going to cover everything in detail in the inner circle.
Thank you, Hugo. Just the contract that you use has a assignment option, right?
Yes.
We can assign it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Are there any other questions, friends, on the line? Luis, do I need to wait till I get my real estate license in order to join the inner circle? Absolutely not. So that's a great question, Luis. So if you want to do wholesales, technically you can do up to 2 wholesale deals without a license in a 12-month period, okay? And in fact, I'm going to send you the what the law says. I'm going to send you a link. It's right here, wholesaling law. I'm going to post a link so that all of you know what that is, but you don't need a license. So I'm going to point that out right here, wholesaling law. I'm putting that on the screen. Look at this. 2 or more occasions in any 12-month period. Okay, so you don't need to be a licensee, a real estate broker licensee, if you're going to do 2 or less transactions in a 12-month period. So if you're going to do 2 or more, you do need a license. So the way it works, if you're part of the team and you happen to make offers more than 2 on a property, you can use our brokerage. Okay, so we are going to help you. As part of the team, we have a lot of brokers. So when we make an offer, somebody who's licensed is going to be on the contract. Okay, so you don't have to worry about it. We're going to make sure that we comply with the law, but I'll send this link to everyone. Great question, Luis. But again, you don't need to have a license. You can start wholesaling, at least do 1 wholesale without a license. And then obviously, I highly recommend people to get trained, get a license for sure, but it's not a stop blocker, okay? A roadblock. You can still use our name, our brokerage, or any other team member who is a licensee. So in the org chart, we put a B if they're a broker. So we have a lot of brokers in the org chart. Most of the team leads are brokers. So they'll be happy to put their name on the offer. So great question. Are there any other questions on the line? Wayne, Walter, Ron, Robert, Rich, Ralph. Any other questions? Michael, Larry, John,
Hey, Hugo.
George. Yes, hey, Ron.
How you doing?
Good.
Question. I got my money together. Is the license for an agent or broker that we should be? Is it just one type of license?
It's you have 2 types of license, actually 3. You are either a leasing agent, You can be a real estate broker, or you could become a managing broker, okay? So you need to start with, I recommend to skip the leasing agent, because I'm sure you're not gonna be doing leases, just a real estate broker, okay? And then I believe you need to be a broker for either 2 to 5 years before you can become a managing broker, okay? So start with the broker.
Okay,
My
thank you.
favorite, no problem, Ron. My favorite institute online. This is my favorite resource for you to get a license. Okay, so this is where this is a real estate institute that I use to renew my license, and they're awesome. Okay, and they have multiple locations online. It's awesome to get a license.
Okay, great. So I can do it online.
Absolutely, Ron. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm ready to go. I get my
Perfect.
credit score has gone up in the 700 as well, and I'm ready to move.
Awesome. Great job. Kudos to
Thank you.
you, Ron. Thank you. There's
You're
another
welcome.
question by Esther. Do you have a managing broker in your team? And the managing broker. So Chicago DealVault runs under Home First Realty. I'm the managing broker of Home First Realty. So as part of being a wholesale inner circle member, you do have the option to hang your license with us. Okay, obviously we're investor friendly brokerage. In fact, Cheryl Stewart has her license with us with Home First Realty. So if you're looking for a place to hang your license, we can do that for you. We could sponsor you. So myself, I'm a managing broker. Are there any other questions? Anthony, Alfonso, Dan, Emre, Emmanuel, George, Kathy, any other questions before I summarize everything we talked about today?
Hey, Hugo, I have a question.
Yes, Wayne.
You were saying that if you're not licensed, you would be able to have an agent to sign on the contract along with you?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, how does that work as far as, is that considered a JV, or would it be cordial to, of course, share a piece of the profit if that person is only signing, or how does that all work?
Okay, great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So let me just explain that a little bit better. So when you become part of the wholesale inner circle, this team, the way we're gonna run it is as follows. We're gonna give you the training, the mentoring, the deal reviews. We're gonna even do the follow-up nurturing campaign for your seller leads. We're gonna automate that for you. And the way it works is we wanna make sure that you focus laser beam into getting a property under contract. So we're gonna give you the contracts, the scripts, the training, everything, so that you just focus on acquisition. We wanna make sure that you are the best acquisition specialist. And we're going to do the rest. So the disposition, meaning moving or selling the rights of the contract to a third party, cash buyer or investor, we're going to do that for you. So let me give an example. If you get a property in the contract, let's say for 100,000, and we can wholesale that for 110,000, we're going to go 50-50. So you're going to make 5,000, and Chicago DealVault makes another 5,000. You just, all you need to do is the acquisition. That's it. Just getting the property and the contract, and that's it. And we're going to give you training, resources, contracts, seller scripts. We're going to give you even recordings for role playing between the seller and the buyer. Everything for you to become the best acquisition specialist. And we're going to go 50-50. You don't need to do this disposition, meaning sell the rights of the contract. Why? Because we have a network of investors of over 10,000. In Chicago DealVault, we have over 40,000 cash buyers. So when we blast a property for sale, I mean, it goes to thousands and thousands. That is why when we did the last blast, we sold the property within hours. I mean, let me give you an example. So we sent the blast, I believe it was on a Monday, to show the property on a Wednesday. We had to cancel the showing for Wednesday because it got sold the same day. So we are going to be in charge of the disposition, but we're going to be split in 50-50. So that is why when you make an offer, if you're a broker, you can put your name. If you're not a broker, you can put both your name and our name, because once you get a property in the contract, you're going to reassign that contract to us, to Home First Realty. That gives us the right to market the property because we have an equitable interest in the contract. So that allows us to market the property. So if we find a cash buyer, then we're going to do another assignment to the end buyer. So at closing, obviously, we collect. If it's less than 10,000, we like to do an assignment. If it's more than 10,000, we're going to do a double close. So we keep confidential the profit spread on the wholesale fee between the buyer and the seller. But again, we're going to go 50-50. So 50 goes to you as an acquisition specialist, meaning getting the properties on the contract. That is why we focus on this lead generation on a weekly basis. We give you all the resources to find seller leads, including ChicagoDealVault. I mean, we have over 100,000 leads from probates, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, and so forth to be able to generate leads off market, high equity. Great question.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Another question, paying for the program will help me get managing broker for the 2 years. So Esther, if you become a broker, yeah, you need to hand your license. Let's say you hand your license with us. Then after 2 years, you can take additional CE, meaning continuing education, to upgrade your broker's license to become a managing broker. And at that point, once you become a managing broker, you have the option to continue to hand the license with us or create your own brokerage, okay? But yeah, you need 2 years of experience with your brokerage. I mean, with your broker's license before you can upgrade to become a managing broker. Great question. Are there any other questions on the line? Great questions. So I would like to summarize what we talked about today. Okay, the data, what I just showed you today is telling us that there's such a huge, over 40% shortage of inventory. Therefore, despite the pandemic, property prices are increasing or have increased by 10% in the last 12 months. Historically low interest rates. That's making the buyer pool bigger, making people pay crazy money for properties. Therefore, we're now in a seller's market, okay? But by the fall of 2021 and early spring, summer 2022, we're gonna see an increase in inventory supply by the distressed homeowners getting into the foreclosure process, especially, you know, forbearance program ending in about 45 days. Those people were still not able to come up with 12 months worth of mortgage payments in a lump sum. Boom, they're going to go into foreclosure process. So everything is going to roll in until the fall once Biden, you know, pushes the moratorium of foreclosures till September. So by the fall or winter, you're going to see an increase in inventory, which is going to make property prices correct themselves by 10 to 15%. So focus on micro flips right now. If you have a property to sell, boom, sell it. If you have a property to refinance right now. We're locking properties at 3.25 interest rates. Right now, it's just amazing. The rates are extremely low. Always do buy and hold and take on wholesaling. Right now, wholesaling is going to be the hottest because of the tsunami wave of distressed homeowners coming up into the market after forbearance. My goodness, if they don't have a job or they don't have enough money, they're going to lose their home. So you as wholesaler can help them. That is why we want to make sure that as part of the wholesale inner circle, you become an acquisition specialist. Okay. Yes, Zora, I'm available. So Phil, can you please make a note to get in touch with Zora tomorrow? So yeah, that pretty much summarizes what the data is telling us. You've got to focus on buy and hold wholesales, and if you have property for sale, micro flip, small flips less than 50,000, rehab less than 200,000 purchase price. And then we want to make you more successful. Therefore, we want to give you the tools, the training, the mentoring hand, the hands-on experience, whether you want to do wholesales right here. So this is the modules for the wholesale inner circle, or if you want to do the cash flow, either buy and hold or fix and flip, you belong to this group. It's a 10-week training program designed to give you the hands-on experience that you need to really take your real estate efforts to the next level. Are there any other questions on the line? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Hugo.
Yes, Ron.
Got a question. I was working with, and we helped you at a real estate company down on Michigan.
Yes.
I think it was Juan, the funding company that works with ChicagoDealVault. The question, well, what he had mentioned to me, he said I should get my first property, like a multi-unit building, and go that way first before I start doing anything else. What do you think about that?
We love multi-units. I mean, we own 1, 2, 3. We just bought the 4th one. We love multi-units. In fact, right now we're partnering up with private money lenders to do 6 and plus multi-units. For cash flow, it's nothing beats multi-unit. Okay, if you want to do buy and hold, multi-unit is just the way to go, for sure.
Yeah, yes, because he was saying that should be the first property I should get where I live in it. Let's say it's a 3-unit, multi-unit building. He said you could live in it, but you could have 2 renters that would rent your property. But that, he said, his suggestion was from a funding source. He said he could take care of me going that way too.
Absolutely. It makes sense because let me give you an example. We just purchased a property about a month ago. It's a 2-flat in Lansing. So you could live in one and then rent out the other one. So for cash flow, it's just going to be great. For buy and hold cash flow, it just makes perfect sense because you might live rent free and the tenant is going to pay for the mortgage. So we bought it for like 87. We're going to put in like 70,000. So all in 150 is going to price for 200,000. So we have the back end value. So you need to remember 25% equity on the back end to be able to refinance.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely, we love multi-units. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just wanted to touch bases with you
Yes.
in regards to what Juan had told me, because he's a funding source.
Absolutely. So focus on 2 to 4, okay? Because once you hit 5 and up, it's commercial. It's a different ball game. Commercial, you're going to be required to put down 25%. But if you stick to 2 flats, 2 to 4 flats, you're still residential. So you can put 10% down. So it's going to be more flexible. You're still within the residential arena, even though it's a multi-unit. So stick to 2 to 4 units, okay? Not
okay.
5.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Kevin Rice, would you do a 1031 exchange in that case? Oh, Kevin. So yeah, 1031 exchanges are great when you're selling a property and then you want to pretty much defer your tax payment on the net gain. Okay, so you have about 3 months to find another property that you're going to use the funds from the first sale, and you have about 6 months to totally close on the transaction. So 1031 exchange, it's a great tax deferment mechanism. So highly recommend 1031 exchanges. If you're making obviously over 50,000 net gain, I mean, it's just for sure the better way to go. Great point, Kevin. Are there any other questions on the line? So you guys were on fire tonight, but I want to make sure that, is there anything else that is preventing you from being more successful? I want to make sure that you have all the tools, resources, that you become part of the inner circle, either the wholesale or the cash flow inner circle. Phil posted the links, so please fill them out. Fill out the links. If you can post them again, Phil, that'll be, oh, he just posted the links. Please fill them out. And that's going to help you. We're going to help you understand what your goals are, what you need, whether you're a private money lender or not, and then put you in the right team, right? We're going to understand your coverage, what counties you're investing in, and based on that, we're going to group you in a team. With a team lead that obviously has more experience, might be a broker or a master's student. So Kevin is asking me, do you have any interest in commercial multi-unit? Absolutely, Kevin. In fact, we're currently looking for, we're focusing on 6 to 12 unit right now. So we're analyzing a couple of them. We have a spreadsheet, we just plug in a few numbers and boom. So yeah, commercial multi-unit for sure. You know why? Because the commercial arena has been hit the hardest. So you can right now find great commercial real estate, okay? Because you want to buy when things are low. And right now, commercial real estate is super, super low. So you can get like really great bargains. But again, if it's in the MLS, it's still extremely competitive right now. But yeah, commercial multifamily, yeah, I love that. So we're focusing between 6 to 12 units. Are there any other questions on the line? So please make sure that you fill out the form, the profiling form, if you want to be part of the cash flow or the wholesale inner circle team. Okay, can you please post the links again, Phil? And then I'm gonna remain on the line for the next couple of minutes if you have any further questions to help you on anything that you may need resources with. But again, the data is telling us that shortage of inventory is supporting 10% property prices, but this won't last forever until this fall, early next year, things are gonna swap. So we're gonna have an increase in inventory supply, therefore price correction of 10 to 15%. But again, if you can find a great deal still off market, go for it, okay? You don't need to wait, but you do have to have your funding line up. And that's what we're gonna be covering in the cash flow inner circle. We wanna make sure that you have all the funding, that's module 6, funding, the different sources of funding, and that you do have access to the right funding partners, okay? Because it all boils down to having a great deal and being able to fund it, okay? So those are the two modules we're gonna be focusing on heavily for the cash flow inner circle. So thank you everyone for joining. Again, happy Valentine's to everyone. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Monday. If you please post the event for tomorrow. So happy Valentine's to everyone. I'm gonna remain on the line for the next couple of minutes to answer any questions that you may have.